Chers auditeurs,
dear listeners,
bonjour.
Welcome in comdarchipodcast Season 3.
Saison 3, dans le monde fascinant des architectes.
And in the architectural projects.
Je suis Anne-Charlotte Depondt, passionnée d'architecture et docteur des universités en histoire de l'archi.
I am one of the spokespersons of Anne-Charlotte, who is a PhD in architecture history.
Merci.
Thank you.
D'être avec moi aujourd'hui.
To be with us today.
Et
And
maintenant,
now,
lundi en français, place au talent.
and Wednesday, let's talk projects. In English, of course.
Bienvenue dans Comme d'Archi.
Dear listeners, welcome to the first episode of our Comme d'Archi summer series on the theme Short Chronicles and Beautiful Castles. This is Esther on behalf of Anne-Charlotte. I had the pleasure of writing this episode. This summer, we have chosen to offer you a walk in the heart of the castles of France, in the heart of the history, sometimes royal, of these residences, of their majestic, monumental, or even intimate architecture. Why such a subject? Because, as André Malraux said so well, the inventory of France's artistic riches has become an adventure of the mind. Representative of the successions of architectural movements, a number of castles have known Romanesque, Gothic, Grand Siècle, Ancien Régime, and even Romanticism for today's theme, the Castle of Clisson. The Castle of Clisson is a medieval castle mainly from the 11th and 15th centuries. It is located in Loire-Atlantique, a monument of the Vendée Bocage, a natural landscape of France composed of fields surrounded by coppice, hedges, or groves. It is a strategic and defensive point of the Marche de Bretagne, the old border between the Brittany region and France. The castle is a maze of corridors and underground passages, according to Léon Gozlan, who wrote in 1857, Clisson is a labyrinth within a labyrinth, in a country of forests, rivers, and marshes. It is a snake that folds back on itself 3 or 4 times, and whose head ends up not finding its tail. It had only one door, like hell, but subterraneans without number, double enclosure of walls, stone armor on stone armor, triple ditch, after a bridge, another bridge, after a second, a third, dark vaults and lighted passages suspended between 2 precipices, and after these black ditches, these gaping posterns, these portcullis, these drawbridges, after this iron and this granite, it embraced the Duke of Brittany, encrusted in the heart of this nucleus. Probably begun in the 13th century by Guillaume de Clisson, then Olivier I de Clisson, known as the Old, the castle is located in a strategic position, at the confluence of the Sèvres and Moine rivers. Thereafter, it was constantly enlarged and improved until the end of the 16th century. So much so that it became a jewel in the crown of French military architecture, and above all, of its evolution. It is a striking labyrinth of curtain walls, courtyards and bastions, bristling with towers, machicolations and barbicans, pierced with cannon ports. In the 10th century, Clisson was not much. A dry hillside, an almost uncultivated valley, a few wooden towers on a rock. In the 11th century, stone replaced wood. The enclosure was reinforced by a first keep not far from the present keep. A church was also built. In the 12th and 13th centuries, the main tower with 2 half-towers was built. The sides contained the dwellings, offices, kitchens, chapel, ducal apartments, and a large hall. Built on a rocky spur, the polygonal enclosure is protected by a double row of moats. The construction is characteristic of Romanesque fortifications. It has a square tower with a helical screw, a compound pile, and a rampant vault, arched bays and regularly alternating courses of granite rubbles and small courses of wedges. Before reaching the Lord's residence, it is necessary to cross 4 bridges, some of which are movable, over deep ditches, pass through half a dozen gates, and go through 3 solidly defended structures. The route is winding and defensive. Later, Olivier V de Clisson had the large eastern dwelling built. It consists of 3 large rooms on top of each other, which can be seen on the north gable end where the floor anchors can still be seen. In the 15th century, the Duke François II of Brittany, probably born in Clisson, made the castle his main residence. Between 4064 and 4088, he carried out a complete restructuring. He fortified the vulnerable parts of the enclosure, extended the curtain wall to the north, and enlarged the castle to the west. Powerful constructions were built to the west and north. A half-moon barbican and towers with casemates for the artillery were built. Towards the end of the 16th century, ramparts, bastions with Aurelians, masonry element built at the corner of a bastion to protect from cannons, a large outer moat with a counterscarp and glacis were added. The castle of Clisson is still one of the defensive bastions of Brittany. However, it was deserted in the middle of the 18th century and then burned down by Republican troops during the Vendée Wars. The castle's furniture was sold and the archives partly destroyed. The dungeon completed its ruin after having suddenly collapsed, it seems, on a Christmas night in the 17th century. In 1807, the ruins were bought by the sculptor François-Frédéric Lemot. They became a huge neo-Gothic medieval folly in his estate called La Garenne-Lemot. The sculptor carried out a restoration in the romantic taste of the time. The dwellings are marked by the monumental remains of the curtain walls and the large Gothic kitchens, topped by a castral chapel with oratory and hagioscope window. Clisson is then the center of an exceptional convergence, a town of diffusion of Italian rustic architecture. Romantic artists were attracted by the picturesque river Sèvres and the grandeur of the ruins left by the infernal columns of the Vendée Wars. The devastated town was gradually rebuilt on the Italian model of Tivoli. Restored several times between 1974 and 1993, the Castle of Clisson is today classified as a historical monument. Its remains are sublime, grandiose, and terrifying. Their majestic complexity still testifies to the elaborate, complicated, and formidable knowledge of the military architecture of the Middle Ages, adapted to each warlike innovation. But it is undoubtedly thanks to the Romantics who were fond of its Gothic ruins that we owe its preservation. Thus, passed through the ages, the Castle of Clisson remains a jewel of French know-how. Dear listeners, thank you for tuning in. Let's meet again next week for a new Summer Comme d'Archi in English. And until then, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Thanks to Julien Rebours, sound engineer, who is collaborating with us today. Don't forget to tune in to our previews on Instagram at comdarchipodcast. If you enjoy this podcast, don't hesitate to promote it by giving it 5 stars and a little comment on Apple Podcast or on your favorite podcast platform. And above all, subscribe to listen to all of our episodes for free. See you soon, and until then, take care of yourself.